midwives specialize in midwifery. So what they do is they provide prenatal care, they can do all the lab tests, they can order ultrasounds, they do nutrition counseling, they counsel women and families, they assist at low-risk births, they recognize complications, they consult and transfer to physicians and specialists when required. They do newborn care, they do feeding and breastfeeding support, and any postpartum support. They can prescribe birth control and whatever else needs to be done during that time. And that's all they do. So they become really experts in that area, and they are not distracted by any other aspects of care. It's not only a certain amount of time they can do this for. They spend their days providing prenatal and postpartum care and are readily available when somebody goes into labor. And that, I think, is a big advantage.
Within the health system, prenatal appointments, seeing your doctor, most times it's not the same doctor. It's different nurses, different doctors, and also when you're delivering, whoever's on the floor, that's who delivers your baby. It's not somebody you've grown a relationship with. Because in midwifery, if you were to have a midwife, you have the same person with you that supports you through the whole pregnancy. That is your support system, even sticks around after the baby is born to support you in any way. And also that's one of the big advantages of having a midwife, because there is that strong bond between the mom and the midwife.
The people that need this program are usually like in Natuashish. They have to come into Goose Bay a month before they have their baby, and that is a challenge for them because they might have another few kids in the house and they can't bring them here. And the partner usually stays until like maybe a week before the baby is born.
In Natuashish, the moms have to leave Natuashish 4 to 6 weeks before their baby's born and come to Goose Bay to deliver. And they have to leave their family behind. They have to leave their kids, and could be, their husband or another support person coming with them, and leaving their kids for that long. It must be a struggle for them. And to have a midwife in their community, it would benefit all the families in that community.
The ART has a role in capacity development within the two communities, one of its mandates. And I see this program, the midwifery program that we're looking at, as being an awesome capacity development project. What's better than having Innu Midwives? It's an Innu-led program. Most importantly, Innu are leading the way here, and that's what we're wanting. And I just think that's the ideal way.
The continuity of care is so important for women to trust their care providers and be comfortable. These are very intimate and personal life experiences, and sometimes there's also trauma there in the past. The ability for Innu women to be assisted during pregnancy, birth and postpartum by Innu midwives is extremely significant for women to be able to speak in their own language, for women to receive care by people from their own culture that is understood, people who know the community. That continuity is so important. Healthcare in remote Canada and in rural Canada is very challenging. Folks are coming and going. There are places where sometimes healthcare providers are flown in for a week and then disappear and have no understanding of the community. staying a few months in a community in the north is like a drop of water in a big lake. It's insignificant. And to create that continuity and that knowledge, but also that pride for Innu women to become midwives is very significant. To have once again role models in the community who are professionals who care and support their own people. Having a provider who you're comfortable with is extremely important and will influence the outcomes as well. And so therefore I think midwives are very well suited to work in northern communities and Indigenous communities, such as the Innu communities here in Labrador.
It was tough, like you know, like any other labor, with the pain, handling the pain. But I think with being in the tent, it really, as relaxing as it can be, because being that atmosphere, you know, being in a tent, the smell of boughs, that feeling always just gives you makes you feel relaxed anyway, rather, you know, on any other day. You know, I could feel it through I felt the contractions, the beginning of each contraction, I would feel it in my legs. And so I would make myself walk through the contractions. And so me and my husband would be walking around outside and inside the tent as well, going around in the circles, trying to really focus.
My niece, Thea Panashwe, when she was pregnant, she asked me if I would be willing to help her and support her in regards to setting up camp for her, or an Innu tent. And I said, yeah, that's exciting. And I said, you know, you don't have to ask me twice. I'm going to be there, and I'll help you as much as I can. So that's what I did. I basically set up the camp. Her husband, Ryan, helped me. So that whole process was basically setting up a stage, I guess, to support an Innu woman get experience about what has happened, or what transpired, or what the experience, I guess, in being in an Innu tent.
You know, we're both from Indigenous communities. We're both from an Indigenous background. So to me, as an Indigenous woman, but also as an Indigenous woman who's also a physician, I felt it was a really unique opportunity, and one that I felt privileged to be invited into.
I know it wasn't easy, but it was easier than being in the hospital. Being with my mom, my husband, and you know, the midwife, the doctor, the nurse, and in the tent, and knowing that, well, I felt safe.
Throughout the night, me and Thea's out walking around, back sitting in the tent. Tent experience was good, I must say. It was way better than in the hospital. Just relax in the tent, smell the fresh boughs.
I received a call from Thea one evening to let me know that she asked me what I was doing actually, and I said, I'm sitting here knitting some socks. And she said to me, well, I think it's time that you knit some socks for the baby. She said, the water just broke, I'm on my way to the hospital. And so she had mentioned that Ryan said, make sure you call June to get there. So we were very ecstatic about it. And so anyways, I just got on the ball, got ready, take off. I'm sure I made it there before her. I was so excited. I was extremely excited that she was getting her wish come true, to be able to have that baby in an Innu tent. And she'll have a story to tell her child forever, to pass on.
She had support people who were present, including her family, and also she was being supported by her friend and colleague, who's also a midwife. And she was there in the capacity of what we would refer to as a doula. And I was there as a physician, and there was an obstetrical nurse. So she labored through the night, and everything went as expected. For me, it was kind of a different experience, because normally I wouldn't be with the patient throughout the entire labor. But in this case, I had agreed to do that, and that was part of what our plan was, that, you know, if we're going to do this sort of planned out-of-hospital delivery on the hospital premises in a tent, that I would be there throughout, which is what I would feel most comfortable to do anyway. So the nurse and I were there the entire time. And it was an opportunity to get to know her and her family even better than what I felt I already did. So I felt it was a really unique experience. Plus, it felt like her labor just progressed along in the most natural way possible. She was able to avail of being outside. It had rained, and then it was really quite nice after the rain. The rain on the tent sounded beautiful. And we were all very comfortable and cozy and just supported her along the way until it was time for her baby to be delivered. And that went as expected as well. So it went perfectly. She had support people present. We also had, I should mention, another tent that was set up just outside of our sort of birthing tent. And so a number of her family members were there. And were being supported, but from afar. So we, of course, it was all during times of COVID, so we had to be conscious of the number of people that we had in the immediate environment, but at the same time wanted to support her family being nearby.
With my daughter, I just hope that she's not the last baby to be born in the tent, and hopefully this opens the door for pregnant moms to consider.
Sheshatshiu Natuashish. We go na mati wasne no jimite ni yadna shechi. Stajin madina go. Stamjano production. Ema vegoset. Dan den sendine den da wo mi jedon dostim. Mich schau dostim ge mich schau. Keshi mich stago hina. Sende den da. Ja sen monosse med den da. Aji petu was mi at nas sai no metigat tjeve no ga hechian. Ken sen monosse mistamna in den mo nosse dia. And den ga jini un ju tosi me jam stiata baispano umut nenjugan. Ewa madnas ewa madotas mi tosi ma eniun gemno eniun ubuntu ispenne. Ne shujen manto isku sheisku ha chenyu ha. Ne shujen ma ewa maka cheindi gata ino dansku davana. Ke jiwa wijet nosma shujen ma. Yenta baj mustagundu isku shmustam wijet ossa inni gata dvaj mustagu. Kwe shujen ma. Ke ne utuntu isku snet aheran chuana.
So I think really the next steps and the power lies in how the Innu would want to move forward with this. I think that there was a lot of excitement and interest in this project. I think people also felt that it was amazing that an Innu person chose a birth in a tent and wanted a different type of experience and got her way, so to say, to actually do it. And I think that was really powerful and important, and I think an important lesson to take forward, that people know they do have the power to change the system and to change things.